What is the permanent bar and can it be overcome? The permanent bar is essentially that. It's a bar that is for life, it's permanent, and generally cannot be overcome absent being outside of the country for at least 10 years, and then you have to file a waiver. And in some circumstances, you can apply for relief in the United States, but usually that is humanitarian relief, like a U visa or an asylum, and that permanent bar will essentially be overlooked. Other than that, the permanent bar forbids you from seeking pretty much any other immigration benefit unless you are willing to spend 10 years outside of the United States, and then, and only then, can you apply for a waiver to re-enter. Now, who has the permanent bar? There's essentially two situations where people have the permanent bar, or how they get the permanent bar. The first is if you have either a deportation or an expedited removal, either in front of a judge or at the border, right? And you leave, and then you re-enter or attempt to re-enter the United States without inspection, you're going to have the permanent bar. Okay, so it does not matter how long you were here prior to that removal order. It doesn't matter if it was a removal at the border, that's called an expedited removal, and then let's say you re-enter the next day without inspection, you are going to be subject to the permanent bar. If you were deported, like you entered with a visa, but you were deported here in the United States in front of an immigration judge, you left and then you entered without inspection, you're going to be subject to the permanent bar. Now, there's another situation where people can get the permanent bar, and that is without a removal order. And that is if you are present in the United States at any point for a period of 1 year or more without any lawful status. It doesn't matter how you entered. It doesn't matter if you entered with inspection or if you entered with a visa. If you essentially are out of status for 1 year or longer, okay, and then you leave the United States and then you re-enter again without inspection, you're going to be subject to the permanent bar. Now, this is generally after the year 1997. These and the entries prior to 97 won't affect you really, but after 1997, if you accrue 1 year of unlawful presence, regardless of how you enter, then leave and re-enter again without inspection, you're going to have the permanent bar. So we have a lot of situations where we see family members of U.S. citizens who are not eligible to seek any type of immigration relief because they have multiple entries to the United States. For example, they entered in 2001, stayed till 2005, left, and then re-entered again in 2006 and haven't left. Unfortunately, they're going to be subject to the permanent bar. So I hope this explains it. Those are the two situations when you have the permanent bar, and those are the reasons or the ways that someone might be able to overcome the permanent bar.